Here's the premise. Our buddies over at the Retro Logic podcast recently ran a poll, specifically John, aka DatFast, ran a poll and did a controller wars. All the controllers competing for top spot on the best controllers of all time. And so Presto was like, what is your favorite controller? And maybe you could rank every Nintendo controller as a PAL topic. So what do you say we do that?
Let's do it.
Because guess what? I've got a ranking list right here. Oh my goodness. Transition. We're here on the board. That was like the fastest I've ever transitioned to that because I planned ahead for once. Let's dive right in. We're going to go chronological here and we're going to hit mainstay controllers. We're not talking off-brand, we're talking Nintendo first-party main controllers. So you'll just kind of see as we go. There might be 2 iterations per console, I think at most. The Wii has 3, but that's sort of cheating. We'll get to it. So let's just start right off the bat. Where should we rank the NES controller?
Well, we should probably rank it somewhere on this board.
How do you feel about the original NES controller before I give you my biased thoughts?
I don't think I've ever touched an NES controller in my life.
What? And you call yourself a Nintendo pal? Excuse me?
A Nintendo pal, not an NES pal.
You know what, Micah? Let me just tell you, you've done yourself a little bit of a favor because this is not a comfortable controller. I am sorry. I know that it is nostalgic, but I just can't get over it. It is not ergonomic at all.
It sounds familiar. I know it's nostalgic kind of a thing with Ocarina of Time.
Don't bring that into this. You leave Ocarina of Time out of this. This is controllers. This is different. All right. So the original NES controller, well, I think is really good.
It looks cool
as a start. Yeah. It just screams like I belong in a Hall of Fame. You know, like I am a museum piece. Like I should be displayed. Like that's how cool of a controller I am. But ergonomic wise, not comfortable to hold.
It's a cassette tape.
It is. It's square. It's got like pokey corners on it. The Retro Logic guys, when they were talking about this, they brought up my point because I'm so adamant about this. But I just don't think it's ergonomic. Like that's. I don't know how anybody could.
They took zero ergonomic consideration into this controller.
I mean, it's like the first controller. It is leaps and bounds above everything else on the market at the time because you had like the Atari, which did have the joystick. Actually, the Atari was pretty cool. But the ones with like the knobs and the dials, and no. This is a solid start. I feel like it's C, maybe D tier.
But it looks real cool, so I think we could put it in C.
Right in the middle ground there. Next, we have the NES Dog Bone Controller. And this just looks... I never used one of these, but someone heard my cries in the distant past. They heard into the future, and they were like, pokey corners. We can solve that problem. So automatically, this is
circles on a stick.
It's essentially the SNES controller, but with 2 buttons instead of 4. I'd say it ranks higher than the NES, but I don't know how much higher. Where would you put it?
I mean, I would say I don't think it looks quite as cool. The color scheme, although similar, is just not the same.
I agree.
It's not the one I'm looking at.
So now that you say that, I think it belongs in the same tier as the NES controller. Because while it is more ergonomic, they sacrificed style for that ergonomic.
Yeah, same tier, but I don't think we're actually doing rankings in each tier, but I think it would be higher in that tier.
Okay, yeah. No, we could. This is a small list, so let's just rank it. We'll rank them in order as well. All right, but then they were like, did someone say style and ergonomics? And ba-bam, you got an SNES controller. That's a good controller. It's really good. I'd say it ranks definitely higher than the others. I don't know where, though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it doesn't look quite as good to me as the NES controller.
Why don't you look at a Famicom?
It looks better than
a Super Famicom controller. Do you have one of those pulled up?
A what controller?
Super Famicom controller?
I don't have to look that up. I know exactly what that looks like.
It's the same thing, but it has a lot more color to it.
4-button colors. Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of like just that like purple and gray. I don't know what to describe that as.
This is a big debate online. Let me tell you. There are people that...
It looks classy, while the other one looks kind of gaudy.
Yeah, so it's like whatever floats your boat, I guess, between the two. So A tier?
Depends on the mood I'm in.
B tier? Yeah. Do you want to stroll in more classy or more showy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the choices you have.
I think, I'm okay with it being in B.
All right, for now.
It's not that different.
I know that we have a big listening audience that was this was top tier. Biter Shan, who left us all those 5-star reviews. Sorry to disappoint.
It's no N64 controller. Let's just get that out of the way.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, let's go. Well, let's get it out of the way. The N64 is next.
Oh, what? You see that tier at the top, that SS? I'm gonna need you to put it one above that.
Heck no. There's no way this is an SS tier controller.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
How could it not?
Listen, this controller is iconic.
Possibilities.
It's iconic. I think the shape honestly has grown on me. I did not like it. I was like, why?
It's like a big M. What's not to like?
Yeah. I mean, this thing's like, you're not going to lose this controller.
It's got some weight to it, which there were a lot of complaints about the Wii U controller.
I do feel like it is ergonomic. Though, when using it the way that most games intended, it felt a little cramped. It feels a little cramped. Versus if you hold it like an NES controller, it's less cramped feeling.
I mean, but that's the power of possibilities.
And it had the D-pad, the really good D-pad, which the SNES has like the best D-pad of anything. I think it's
debatable.
It just feels good. It just feels good to click it. I've got them right here, man. It's a great controller. It's a great controller.
Oh, but this D-pad.
I mean, yeah, it's probably the same one, right? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it is.
Or at least very similar. But the GameCube D-pad?
I think that what the N64 controller has going for it, though, is all the colors. I mean, you could get...
Oh, yeah.
You could get...
talking about good looks and style.
You could get transparent plastic. That is so cool.
Transparent all the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, look, you could see the insides of this controller. That was like the coolest thing to me. And you could get that on the console too. So the N64, I think ranks higher just for sheer availability of variety. Like there was a color for everyone.
I mean, if the dog bones B, it's at least A. At least.
I want to put it in A. That's where I want to put it for right now. Because I feel like it's not quite there. Not quite there for me on the...
I mean, it did have
it's iconic.
The analog stick would wear and then get all kind of janky. But other than that, I mean, it's a nice controller. I like it. And the possibilities are endless. Well, there's two.
Yeah, it was like the first joystick they did, you know? But then you got the GameCube Controller. Micah, where's this one going to go for you? Can I... do you want me to just place it? I'll just toss it down.
Toss up a little higher than that. Maybe a little higher than that, yo. Yeah, there it is. I would kill you. Speaking of serial killers.
I think you're delayed on the stream because you were like, yeah, there it is while it was in F.
How dare you?
I didn't do it. You said
How dare you?
I don't know how I feel about the GameCube controller because I think that it's extremely ergonomic. Right?
Oh, it's so good.
I don't know if I like the bean buttons. Kind of am more partial to the 4-button layout.
Why don't you like the bean buttons? What's wrong with the bean buttons? Just don't say it's because they're too similar. People say that, and they're like...
What does that mean?
They're too similar. The Y and the X, they're like the same button. I'm just like, excuse me, but every button is the same on modern controllers. They're all exactly the same.
Yeah, no, that's not what I was gonna say. I was just gonna say I don't know if I like the layout. I guess is it more efficient? Is this like switching to to the keyboards that are not QWERTY, but like you know what I'm talking about, like the ones that have
that are actually spaced nicely.
Yeah,
no, I mean it is. I mean, there's always the one button in a game that you press way more than every other button. It's the A button. So every button is close to the A button.
The thing this
can be hit at the same time as you hit the A button.
Is dual triggers. Like it only had it on the one side, right?
No. Oh, like the Z button?
Yeah.
Like that being. Oh, okay, yeah. That they didn't have.
It has the bumpers.
Yeah. I mean, but the bumpers are when the
brought those in. They were like, you know, we don't want to go Sega on you and put 6 buttons on one controller. We'll just put the buttons up here. like. Thank you.
Revolutionary. But I mean, the triggers are also so good. They got that second click.
Yeah.
Which a lot of games didn't really take advantage of, but there are some great things you could do with that.
I did like that about it, but it only had it on the one side, right?
No.
Or you have it on both sides.
but the Z is only here.
Oh, but the Z. Okay. I was remembering that backwards. I don't have one handy. I had one. My dog chewed it up. The sad day.
But I just remember in Desert Storm, if you had a sniper, it had variable zoom, so you could zoom in a little bit or zoom in a lot. And it would zoom in when you clicked it, or move it down, and then click in the next when you clicked it. So you could alternate very quickly or just move completely out. Instead of I remember in Halo, you had to click and then click to zoom in again. And then if you wanted to zoom in back to the previous, you had to click twice. And you accidentally hit it too many times, and then you got to hit it 5 times.
Those pressure sensitive triggers, I go back and forth on whether I liked them or not on most controllers, but I think I can say for sure on the GameCube they worked and they did a good job with it. Probably the best pressure sensor trigger. So I think I can put it up there. I don't like the littler thumbstick for the right side. I wish that they had just made it the same size as the C stick. I didn't like that. A little tiny nub. I wish that was bigger. And then, of course, they got the D-pad on there. And then, just the shape. It's cool. It's cool.
It's nice.
It holds up, and there's a reason that it's still supported on the Switch today. And that reason is Smash Bros. If you're new to Smash Bros. And you're gonna learn to play the game, I recommend learning to play it on a GameCube controller because it will always be supported forever. We're gonna be playing in VR, and it's gonna have GameCube controller support for Smash Bros.
While punching, you also have to use the GameCube controller. But then also the analog stick, that's got some nice feel to it. I gotta say, every controller nowadays, it's too easy. Everything moves way too easy, and it's harder to get those fine controls, but the GameCube still had that little bit of
resistance.
The resistance, yeah.
I can get behind that. I think the Nunchuck had that as well. Nunchuck feels like it has some good.
I probably should have brought that over as well to mess with.
I'll go grab mine once we get to it. But what about the Wavebird versus wired?
I would say that's a lot of what I use. They're pretty similar though. It was nice not having the cord though.
Got it. I should have prepped for this. I've got my Wii remotes here ready. I agree. I think I didn't like the weight density of the Wavebird versus the standard controller. If that makes sense. It's a little
bigger.
It felt a little too clunky, but the wireless was like a game changer. I was like, oh yeah, now we're gaming. We're gaming.
You have little channels on the thing, and you can't both be on the same one.
I'm just grabbing all the controllers. I'm running around like, okay, I got this. Where's my Pro Controller though?
You call yourself a Nintendo fan.
I call myself a Nintendo fan. Oh, it's right over here. Hold on. Fastest podcaster.
Although I need to go grab a nunchuck now so I can compare the resistance.
All right, well that's what we're judging next. So next we're talking the Wii Remote and Nunchuck combo. But we should evaluate them both by. Oh wait, Mike can't even hear me. He's not on his headset. Oh, I see. So the Wii Remote, I have here a special edition Luigi Wii Remote, was and is a cool controller. I like it. Now comparing this to like a Joy-Con, this feels better to hold than a Joy-Con does.
I just have the nunchuck.
Joy-Con feels just a little bit too small, but together we make a Wii Remote Nunchuck combo. I actually have my nunchuck here.
Yeah, that does have some pretty good resistance to it.
The only thing I didn't like was the cord, and there wasn't a good cordless option. I remember we bought like a wireless nunchuck, like an off-brand wireless nunchuck, and it didn't work very well. It didn't connect super great. So Joy-Cons have that at least. I mean, it connects well. The technology has progressed to the point. Because I remember in certain games, you'd be like shaking this, and the cord would just be like, swinging around.
Yeah.
But I like the idea overall. There's a reason this appealed so much to the casual market. Because it's just easy to understand. You point it at the TV and you push the A button. And then they also kind of threw in, they're like, oh, but if you want to be a gamer, you can switch it to the side and play it like an NX controller. And it doesn't work too bad like this. Certainly better than how a single Joy-Con works, which just feels too small. Yeah, but it has weight to it. I sometimes, when I'm playing Nintendo Switch Sports, I'm like, maybe they sell an attachment that just turns my Joy-Con into a Wii Remote, because it just feels better. And then you had these slip-on covers, which not all of my controllers have the slip-on cover because my daughter takes them off and wears them like shoes. Yep, that's what she does with these. But again, there was a big variety of colors that you could get for Wii remotes. Was there? I don't remember there being a huge variety for GameCube. It wasn't as highlighted as like the N64.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
The N64 was like
a few colors.
Peak variety on colors. But I mean, you could get some pretty cool Wii remotes. You get some cool Wii remotes.
Trying to think that for the GameCube, there were just like 3 that I remember are like the classic GameCube blue, purple color, black, and then I think they also had like a silver. I want to say I saw an orange one at some.
Where do you rank this, Micah?
Talking about GameCube, what did we move to?
Wii Remote and Nunchuck.
Wii Remote. Well, this half, I mean, it's pretty nice. It still has some pretty good resistance.
I always felt like the Nunchuck was too light. It needed to be a little heavier, especially when you're holding the Wii Remote, which has some good weight to it. You can hit someone with this, clonk them on the head. But this would be like
symmetrical.
Yes, yeah. I think that balance needs to be there. I'm gonna say A tier. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's above or below the N64. Would you put it higher?
Yeah, we'll just put it in the A tier and not worry about it.
All right. I'll put it below the N64.
Because I mean, it did kind of have the same amount of possibilities. Like I touted so much about the 64.
So should I change it? Should it be better?
It's in there.
I personally think I put it more above the N64.
I guess we kind of have to. It also has the motion controls.
Okay, then we have
your TV with it.
Then we have the Wii Classic Controller, which was like a plug-in so that you could play games on a regular-looking controller.
Yeah.
I think it's fine, serviceable, it looks all right, but I think it's probably the bottom of everything on the list so far.
It's like Dog Bone, but better.
Really? That's what you...
Name one way that it's worse.
It just doesn't have as much of a style to it, I guess. Like, I feel like the NES style, the NES is more iconic, and like if I saw these two controllers, I'd pick up this.
It's more iconic, of course, because it's like the first controller.
So you think it should be ranked higher? Like,
yeah, I think it has a kind of a nice look with like the clear buttons.
I do like the clear button with the not clear button. And then there was a second iteration to this, and I think this one is definitely better. It has the handles.
It has the handles,
the gripping handles. This is where we see this is the grandfather of the Pro Controller. I'd rank this pretty high. I actually really enjoyed playing games like this. I don't know if it's higher than the SNES
or the Classic.
I'm just gonna leave it right here with the other Classic Controller. We'll leave it right there.
I feel like it can't be below the dog.
It is below it's above the Dog Bone, but not the SNES controller.
Oh, the SNES. Yeah, my bad. That's the one I meant to be saying. Yeah. I mean, how is it? I mean, it's got the SNES two analog sticks on it. Also,
yeah, but they're not. Those are not in a good spot. Those analog sticks both being on the bottom, I did not like. I did not like that. That was a bad decision.
I mean, people get held up a little too much on where these analog sticks.
Yeah, because they can't be like squished my thumbs together. No.
Are you
crazy? I don't have one of these handy to even like really give it a good comparison.
Nonsense.
I'm gonna leave it here for right now, but we can adjust. We got to move on. How about the Wii U Gamepad?
That's
what we got next.
Fantastic.
Come on, we both got it.
On this, it almost looks like I'm playing a game right now.
I actually really like the Wii U Gamepad.
How do you feel about the both being on the level, the analog sticks?
Well, they're up higher. They're not down below, like on that. Since it felt too low for me on the Classic. But this feels just right, like where you'd be holding it. The one thing I kind of wish it had wings on it, felt a little bit better to hold. It has a little bit of a grip bump back there, but that should have just extended out like the 64 controller.
Because I usually just like it feels just like bigger or something as well. Can't like tell, but there's just like a gap from where you comfortably hold it.
Yep. But the fact that this has a screen on it, so you can play games on here, it has a camera, it has a microphone.
I could turn my TV on with it. We lost the remote a few times.
All your amiibos. It has the Classic. It's got the D-pad and the ABX or ABYX setup. Yeah, it was also a TV controller. Triggers feel good. They went to just full on clicky triggers. I like it. I think this ranks high. Maybe higher than GameCube.
I mean, let's not be crazy.
Oh no, we're not being crazy here.
But it does rank high.
Higher than Wii Remote?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so it looks like we'll put it right below GameCube for now. And then you have the Wii U Pro Controller, which I think is a very good controller. I actually have one of these handy. I'll go pull that out. Do you have one of these?
Yes, technically. I can't actually hear what you're saying. Do I like it?
Yeah,
yes.
Do you like it?
think it's a nice controller. And even though, once again, the analog sticks are on top, I think it works.
Ergonomic. Okay, not once again. You mean like the Wii U Gamepad?
Yeah.
You say that like I don't like it. I like the position of the thumbsticks here. I don't like the position of the thumbsticks down here. But that doesn't feel comfortable.
If you compare it to the SNES controller, that didn't even have thumbsticks.
Right, so there was no discomfort on where the thumbsticks
Exactly, because you couldn't even use them. The discomfort was not being able to play games that used.
It feels ergonomic. The one thing I don't like about the Wii in general is that it uses this shiny plastic.
It gets dirty real fast.
It is nasty looking. Yeah, it does not stay clean. So that was a poor choice. But I think it's really good. I think this ranks up there in S tier as well. And I think I might prefer this controller over the Gamepad. Like if the game had this as an option, I would play with this almost always. So,
yeah, if the game wasn't using some functionality of the Gamepad, then
would you rank it above the GameCube controller? Probably
not. I got a lot of nostalgia bias for the GameCube controller. I will readily admit that.
I think they're about equal for me. We'll just leave it as is. Joycons. All right. Yeah. I like the Joycons. I like the concept that they can click in or they can come off and become their own controller with controller attachment, and that they can
play just like however you want.
That they could be two controllers. So essentially, your Nintendo system comes with automatic built-in two-player support. It does feel good to have these two separate controllers that you can use for motion gaming with Skyward Sword, and now Nintendo Switch Sports. And the overall quality, I like the feel of the plastic. Like everything about it feels really good, but they're a little too small. They don't fit quite right in my hands. And I don't have like exceptionally big hands, but
yeah,
I always imagine to be
3 inches over average height. So it's not like we're huge.
Yeah,
but yeah, they do feel just a teeny bit small.
Just just a teeny bit too. Like if it just extended like another inch or so, like that I feel like it would feel a little bit better to hold. The fact that you have to slide on and off the bumper and wrist strap.
I mean, you don't have to,
which nobody does. But then these little buttons up here, like they should have just made these bigger.
Then the little bumper wouldn't slide on. Buttons would be in the way.
No, like the buttons themselves are really teeny size-wise. Like make this button a bigger area here, you know.
Why would you make that bigger if you're just going to put the bumpers on anyways?
Well, that's what I'm saying is like the whole concept of having to put on and off a bumper is not good.
But the bumper makes the controller bigger and more comfortable to hold.
Yes. With the bumper on it does feel a lot better to hold. I don't know. And then there's always drift. Yeah, we talk about drift, which has plagued manufacturing of this thing since the get-go, essentially. And so this doesn't rank as high for me in general. I think
it wasn't for the drift.
Fantastic concept. This is like, I'll answer this question because Presto asked the question, what's your favorite controller? If I had to pick right now and say like what my favorite controller is, I would say the Oculus Rift VR controllers are my favorite controller.
Those are some nice controllers.
They are ergonomic, they're comfortable, they have a button layout that makes sense. Everything about it is stuff I like. So I think that's probably what I would pick. Isn't even a Nintendo thing. But if I have to go with like a standard controller, I mean, let's rank the Joycons here. Joycons be above the SNES, maybe?
I feel like maybe around the Nunchuck. I mean, they're better than the Nunchuck in every way. The only downside is the drift, which, I mean, is pretty bad.
Wait, they're better than the No, they're not better than the the Nunchuck wasn't ranked separately. It was a Wii Remote.
I mean, the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, yeah.
I don't think they're better than every way than the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. What?
Name one way they're not better.
IR sensor? Do you like actually have the pointing at the screen?
They have that. Doesn't one of them have that?
It has something like that, but it doesn't. It's not for pointing. It's not a pointer. And ergonomics, like the Wii Remote and Nunchuck feel a lot better to hold.
That's debatable.
Then the Joycon? That's not debatable.
The Joycon, yeah.
Okay. What?
You can hold the Joycon a lot more relaxed than.
Well, yeah, just because there's not a cord there. But like the actual feeling of the controller in your hand, this fits in your hand. The Joycons do not.
It's large. It's like a tube.
Yeah. That's good. This is like
awkward shaped.
This is a good size.
The Nunchuck's like I can just chill and they just fall perfectly into my hand.
Like the alternate reality where two Joy-Cons are just Wii remotes that was like slid on when the Wii U was successful, you know, and it became. Oh yeah. So you want to rank this higher than the Wii Remote? I don't think I can do that.
I feel like they do what the Wii Remote and Nunchuck do better in essentially every way except for the drift, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I think the drift is a detriment. I want to rank it lower. I think the Wii Remote Nunchuck's better.
I mean, that placement, I guess I can accept.
It's fair.
But I think a sideways Joy-Con's better than a sideways Wii Remote.
Definitely better than the sideways Nunchuck.
Oh, for sure.
All right, let's move on to... and we're talking standard controllers. My favorite has got to be the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller thing.
That's pretty nice.
I feel like this controller is just really... It ergonomically is perfectly comfortable. They got rid of that shiny plastic and actually gave it a little bit of that translucent plastic.
Except for this top part. This one part still has the shiny.
Yeah, it's like all the left.
But it's like the part you don't really touch much.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something classy about this controller. Yeah, I like it.
Like the subtle see-through, so nice.
I like the subtle see-through a lot, actually.
Yeah.
They just did a good job with it. Not nearly the amount of problems that you have with the drift. You were right that the Joy-Cons don't have as much resistance, which makes it a little hard for precision. But gyro aiming, which we didn't even talk about with the Joy-Cons, like the Hdr Rumble.
Oh yeah, see? Better in every way.
All right, we'll move it up. Hdr Rumble, you get a pass. But yeah, the fact that this has gyro aiming, rumble, and ergonomically, this is the most comfortable Nintendo controller they have ever made. It fits perfectly in my hands, perfectly. And it has a good weight to it. It's not too heavy. You know, the gamepad gets heavy. But yeah, so I personally think I rank this above everything. This is the highest tier for me. It's not perfect. There are some things that I would like to see come back from old iterations, like the pressure triggers would be cool, and maybe some more resistance to those joysticks.
Yeah, but it seems
and more colors. Like everything just needs to. Why can't we have more colors of the N64? Joy-Con has a lot of colors, but it's not super variety-ish. Not a word.
Varietous, I believe. Is definitely a word.
So this is where I'm at. I think the Pro Controller is the top. What do you think?
It is real nice. I don't know if it's quite as comfortable to hold as a GameCube controller, though. These triggers just caress my fingers into the perfect position.
They do. They do. They really do on the GameCube controller.
They're just so perfectly shaped somehow.
I don't think... I personally can't put it below the GameCube, and that's what we have on top. So.
Could you put it below the SNES controller?
Yeah, but I could put it down here at the C tier. No, I think this is SS. This is the best controller. It won the controller wars, by the way.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it, but I mean, it is a nice controller. I do like it. You have the button for taking pictures.
That's true.
So you can have lots of random pictures on your Switch.
I really do think the gyro capabilities are a game changer, especially for shooters and games that do require that precision aiming. I did it a lot for Splatoon.
Yeah,
I did it. At first I didn't like it, but the more I got used to it, the more I was like, this is way better than not having it enabled.
Yeah, I do like the regular stuff for my aiming, but then when I wanted that real precise movement, I used the gyro.
So are you good with where it sits at the ranking list? Have I convinced you enough?
Yeah, I can accept that, I guess.
All right.
I don't know if I can accept the SNES controller being up above those other two, though.
I got a solution. Oh, and the solution is to move the whole scene right in the middle. There we go. What's your favorite controller of all time? This is just game controllers in general, not exclusive to Nintendo, but it can be a Nintendo controller.
I mean, I don't know. Like you said, it practically shouldn't count though. But the Oculus controllers, for VR, and they let you raise your fingers so you can point and things, and it's just very intuitive to be grabbing things with this button.
Yeah, here's the problem with a lot of VR controllers is that they don't feel like a controller. They try and do things that make them feel more hands-free or motion-based, where that has a classic controller 4-button setup with 2 joysticks on each side, but it also has a lot of those niceties, and it has the double triggers. You have the lower triggers and the upper triggers. It has all the capabilities of a controller built into the most ergonomic way possible.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's very intuitive, and that's why I always make people wear straps, because people like to throw those bad boys.
Yeah, because you don't feel like you're actually holding it. The only downside of those is that they don't have like a way to set them down. Like you can put this controller down, but you put that down, it's like,
it's always like wobbly, especially because you always have the VR headset still, and you're like,
yeah, it needs a bottom to it that can just set it down and like stand up. I don't know. That's probably your favorite as well.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used any of these like new fancy VR controllers. But I don't know. Some of those have been improved on, probably.
Are there any changes you want to make to this ranking list?
No, I think that's good.
All right. So we've got number 1, Switch Pro Controller. We can alternate here.
Oh, and then number 2, the GameCube Controller.
Number 3 would be the Wii U Pro Controller.
And then the Wii U Gamepad.
And then the Nintendo Switch Joycon.
And then gross, the Wii Remote Nunchuck.
And then we got the N64 controller in green, or whatever color you want.
And then, what was they even call this? The Wii Classic Pro?
Wii Classic 2? I can't remember. Classic Pro. The SNES controller.
And then just the Wii Classic.
NES Dog Bone.
Good old
the NES, which is
NES.
we've put at the bottom, which is crazy.
I mean, it does look real nice, but I mean, it's a box. It's a box you hold.
Yeah. Well, let's say, okay, if the lowest that they have had for controllers is is the NES, then I mean that's pretty dang. They've got a good track record. But Micah, you know what? We forgot the Virtual Boy. We could
just going with normal controllers.
We'll put the Virtual Boy down here in D. It's its own little space.
It's just
All
so
right.
wonky look. It's like
it's
like a dying 64 controller.
Yeah. It came before the 64 controller, so it kind of makes sense.
It's just like the skeletal structure of a Nintendo 64 controller.
They were like, we're almost there, everybody. And then they got there. Well, that is going to wrap it up. And Micah, where can they find us? They want to find us.
On the internet.
We're on the internet. We're on Twitter.
Nintendo Pals or Nintendo Pals Podcast.
We're on
One
Twitter,
of those two.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. We're trying really hard to grow on YouTube and Twitch, so help us out. Go drop us a follow, sub, or whatever the platform wants you to do.